Well, this month we are open to a higher education. That's what our theme has been. And it's going beyond books. It's going beyond simply what we know, what we can learn from reading. What we want to try to embody is this deeper truth, this deeper knowing that there is one life, one presence, one love, one energy. It is infinite, it is unlimited, it's what we are. It was never born, it will never die. That's exactly what each and every one of us is. And we're here to remember, to experience that at a deeper level than we ever have before. This morning's topic I've chosen as Be Open and Curious. And I want us to focus on being open, being curious, not just in the physical world of how things work, but also in our spiritual world, on the unseen realm. How do things work there? Am I open to allowing Spirit to move through me, unimpeded? We've all, I imagine, heard the saying, and I'm not sure exactly where it came from, but as within, so without, as above, so below. And so we take that to heart. We recognize that as I am within, that is what is reflected on the outer side of me. What is reflected in me is the perfection of the kingdom of God. That is the truth of each and every one of us. We are whole, we are complete, we are perfect in every way. And we just want to experience that, to let that, to allow that to live through us. And to do that means that we don't necessarily have to know everything. That we are to be open to allowing the energy that is infinite to flow through us. It means being open to greater things than what we have previously experienced. And that energy that is within us is subtle. We look out in the world and look at the nature, at the trees, at this earth, and you recognize how things change there, absolutely, sometimes subtly and sometimes very drastically. But underneath it all, of the appearances that we see on a day-to-day or a moment-by-moment basis, there is this solid, consistent energy that is whole, that knows exactly what it's doing. In this third dimensional life, we have what we experience as good and evil, contrast, light and dark. That is on the earth plane, that's on the physical third realm that we have here. Those are appearances. They are not a reality in capital R. Reality is in truth. And it is a constant challenge for us to remember that, to allow this, the energy, the appearances that come and go, to allow them to be and not get hooked up in the thinking that there is duality, that there is a good and an evil. There is not. There is one power, one presence, back of everything. I was reading Joel Goldsmith again this week, and I love the analogy. I was reading the chapter that talks about the tree of life. And this analogy is indicating that there is, first and foremost, we have to get this established, one power, one presence. It is whole, it is perfect, it is complete. Back of everything there is one. Very, very, very important that we divorce ourselves of duality. Okay, so look at a tree. Here's a tree. You see the life energy of a tree. Where does it start? In the roots, right? And it spreads up through the trunk and out through the branches. Joel put it this way. I tried to put it in my own words, and I thought, heck, he says it the best way that I could share, so I want to just share the way he puts it. There is a tree of life, a central source of life, that we are all parts of that life. We are not separate branches, as we appear to be, but we are bound together by an invisible tie, which is life itself. When the conviction of oneness is realized, each branch derives its good from its source, so there is no need to compete or overcome another, because each branch realizes that, John Burroughs so beautifully expresses in his poem Waiting, "My own shall come to me," unquote. Why will it come? Because it is coming to us from our source, not from another branch, not from someone else, not from, page turned, going out into the world and trying to get it. My own shall come to me, mine, not yours. The ego man is always asserting himself. The contemplative man, the man of God, knows that the branch cannot dictate to the tree. The only function of the branch is to be still and let and do in time. The life of the tree will provide all that it needs. And when the branch is full of flowers and fruit, instead of taking pride in it, the branch will be humble and remember. It is just showing forth the glory of the tree. The ego man always desires something out here. The mystic is always living in the center of his being. I love that analogy. If we can step our separate self aside and let and allow this life force energy to come through us, then there are no comparisons in life. Can you imagine a branch of a tree looking at another branch and saying, I got more fruit than you? We're not here for that. We're here to live from our center, from our deep center. We're here to let go of all of those expectations, those have-tos, and be available, be open, be curious. What in the world is this God life going to give me this day? How can I live from this infinite self that I am? I wanted to share the Science of Mind reading for today. I thought that it spoke to me, and I hope it speaks to you. It says, simple, comma, not easy. A quote from the Dalai Lama. If one's life is simple, contentment has to come. Simplicity is extremely important for happiness. Having few desires, feeling satisfied with what you have is very vital. And finally, there is an intense delight in abandoning faulty states of mind and in cultivating helpful ones in meditation. And from Ernest Holmes, it is as simple as this. We are surrounded by an infinite law that can do anything. There is no limit to it, and it does not know anything about big and little. But what the law does for us, it must do through us. And then I loved what this fellow wrote. New thought is as simple as change your thinking, change your life, right? that has become a common metaphysical band-aid rather than the surgical procedure needed to shed the old paradigms that give way to the discovering the truth of ourselves. How easy is it to say, change your thinking, change your life? Where do we get thoughts from? What does it mean to change my thinking? What about the feelings and the emotional energy connected to the thoughts? In many ways, we treat this philosophy like it's as simple as 2 + 2 = 4, whereas it is more than like an algebraic or trigonometry equation. Will changing my thoughts about my abusive history and my experience of PTSD change my life? I tell you from experience, it took me several years to finally understand not just the what to do, but the how to do it. Living is an ongoing process, not a one and done. I learned that just as I breathe, eat, drink, and eliminate daily, I must daily engage the spiritual practice to be nourished and changed by it. Compartmentalized spirituality is comfortable and easy. It absolves us of the responsibility of accountability of living the teaching. We continue to practice the teaching with little thought of living it. Other than those needing to learn or relearn how to eat, we do not practice eating, we just do it. When we are ready to truly reach higher in science of mind and spirit, we will shift from practicing it to embodying it. Just as spirit lives, moves, and has its beingness as me, I right now live, move, and am being what it is as me, forever one life, living itself. If we can understand that, if we can acknowledge that, if we can accept that there is this one life living itself as me, and it knows what it is doing, I can surrender to that. I can let go of all of the notions that this egoic mind is telling me and be open to be expectant of what the gifts of Spirit will bring me this day. I went to go see the new Clint Eastwood movie on Friday. How many of you have heard about that? He produced and starred in this movie, 91 years old. And it wasn't at all what I expected, primarily because of the title. The title is Cry Macho. And he's a cowboy, he's got the cowboy hat on, and I'm thinking, oh, Cry Macho, what is this going to be about? But I have to tell you, it wasn't anything that I expected whatsoever. It was about a man who had a job to do, and he methodically stayed centered in the procedure of getting that job done. And whatever went on around him, he remained calm, wasn't flustered by it. Well, a couple times he got flustered. But it, to me, was a very good example of how someone is living from their center and doing what life is presenting them to do. He was asked to do something, he said yes. How many times do we, if Michael Singer comes to mind, how many times did Michael Singer in all of his life, somebody presented him something to do and he didn't argue. He said, okay, life is presenting this to me, then I'll say yes. One of the things that I really remember from Michael Singer's surrender experiment was that above everything, and no matter what, he always, always, always wanted to open his heart, leave the heart open, never, never upon any sort of condition or experience, close the heart, but leave it open. That was one of the mainstays of the way that this man lived his life. And I want to do that. I want to be able to remain open, to allow this life force to live through me. And it's a habit. It's an embodiment. What the fellow in Science of Mind said is that this life is living through me, as me. I don't have to limit it. I don't have to clench my fists and say, this is the way that I want it. I wanted to share with you, Eileen, Katie. I put little marks on these different, it's a daily reading, and I put marks on different ones. This one has 4 stars. And this is, of course, written by the standpoint of God, the God energy speaking. I am the source of all life. When you get into rhythm with me, everything flows smoothly. I will tell you one little tiny thing, though, about the movie that I was impressed with. He starts out with a car, and through the process of the movie, he ends up with different cars. And every car was an upgrade from the one previous. And I thought, yeah, he's got a good prosperity consciousness going, because each one was an upgrade. Okay, I digress, but many souls wonder why life is full of ups and downs, or why many things go wrong, and immediately they are ready to blame everything and everybody but themselves. When you take time to find out why you are out of harmony with life, you will very often find that you are not putting first things first, and that you are failing to take time to go into the silence and find out in the peace and stillness what I require of you. It takes time. It takes patience. It takes faith and belief. It means you have to learn to be still. I want you to learn to work out the answers to your problems alone with me. I long for you to rely on me entirely for everything, to realize that your strength, your wisdom, your understanding all come from me. Each of us is this divine expression, unique, powerful, beautiful, loving, infinite, joyous. Can we accept that? Can we believe that? Can we be that? Can we embody it? Can we live that? I hope so. I want to close this morning with asking you to bring out the thought for the week, and at the bottom of it is that affirmation in bold, and I want us to repeat that together. I realize I'm a student of life and am therefore open and curious as to what I can learn, how I can grow, and what more I can give from this unlimited, infinite self that I am. Life is good, and I am grateful. Namaste. Have a beautiful, lovely, wonderful day. Love you.